Lots of things contribute to a good story, but above all else, speaking personally at least, characters has to be the most important thing at the top of the list. Give me a fun, interesting character, or even just a unique take on a well-established archetype in storytelling, participating in a mediocre plotline over a flat, dull character that's taking part in some super high-paced action plot any day of the week. Over the course of human history, thousands and thousands of different characters have been created, and I want to take the time to show my own deep appreciation for them, at least the ones in the anime medium. I mean, one day I'll branch out maybe, but that's a ways down the line. So with all that said and out the way, let's look at, controversially, one of the greatest characters in anime, Obito Uchiha. Obito has become one of the most misunderstood characters in all of anime, and that's a shame, not only because it sucks when a writer's art is misunderstood or they can't get their true thematic principles across, but this common idea a lot of people are getting wrong really is the difference between thinking Obito is a solid character with layers and thinking he's just another generic emo anime boy who cried when things didn't go his way. Alright, there's a little bit of truth to both of those, but definitely more of the former than the latter. So before I really get into this, I want to make something clear. There's a running joke some fans have that Obito is a loser who caused an entire war over a childhood crush. I see no issue with you saying this as a joke, because the joke is you're ignoring all the context surrounding Obito's actions in an effort to make him come across as petty and overdramatic. As a meme, it's a quality laugh. The problem is when you have this perception of Obito and you're being serious. No, Obito did not start a war over a girl, at least solely over a girl. Let's start from the very beginning with one of Obito's earliest, most notable moments, his speech to Kakashi, and more specifically, the classic line.
Those who break the rules and laws are regarded as scum. But those who would abandon even one of their friends are worse than scum. I'm scum anyway.
This is a cool chat protagonist line and all. Yeah, it radiates power, friendship, energy, but when put in its proper context, it's a lot cooler of a quote because it shows us who Obito is as a person and his true feelings about the world around him from the very beginning. It's important to point this out because of the way Kishimoto interjected Obito into the story. Often Obito gets compared to the likes of Sasuke, a character whose goals and motivations constantly change through the series due to unfortunate after unfortunate event, eventually leading him to spiral out of control in the midst of darkness and become completely unrecognizable from his beginning of the series counterpart. While I get why some people would have this same perspective on Obito, he just doesn't quite fit the same mold, and it's disingenuous to act as if Ren's death made him do a 180 as a character. Ironically, his character is a lot closer to Naruto, and I don't just mean the surface level knuckleheaded persona they both show early in their lives. Kakashi constantly makes this comparison, and I think it's easy to get caught up in them having the same personality and both wanting to be Hokage, and I'm sure that plays a part, but I think the link Kakashi was making in his mind, and in turn what Kishimoto was trying to paint for us, was their resolve and motivation for acknowledgement. The separation between these two characters comes in their morality and what they're willing to do for this acknowledgement and overall achieve the world that they desire. To better explain this, try taking out the idea of good and bad for a second. I think this is what throws off a lot of people. Obito's goals never really derive from a place of good or bad, at least initially. There's an idea, either consciously or subconsciously within most people, that the pursuit of companionship in the form of friendships, relationships, family ties, and anything else that falls under companionship is inherently pure. But there are dozens and dozens of examples of people doing evil and unspeakable acts, and those actions being motivated by these very things. Wanting friends, wanting to have loved ones doesn't make you a good person, and this isn't me necessarily trying to convince you that Obito was always, quote, evil, but for sure one thing we should all be able to agree on is Obito was always willing to cross the path less walked for the sake of those around him, but more importantly, for himself. Realizing this, it puts more of a dark undertone into the quote, those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. It's Obito indirectly telling us that he feels as though the laws of the land don't apply to him, and he has no problem breaking those laws and breaking these rules in an effort to warp his own reality to capture the thing he wants most. Maybe I'm wrong in my thinking, maybe I'm giving Obito and in turn Kishimoto way too much credit, but looking at Obito as a character, it doesn't seem like you were supposed to interpret him as a character that was once good and then turned evil. He never comes across as a pure soul in comparison to some of his castmates like Naruto, Itachi, and Jiraiya. It never seems like his mentality was ever making the world a better place for everyone, just for himself and the people close to him. I don't view Obito as a character who makes that heroic save 10 out of 10 times with the boulder. I see him doing it for Kakashi and Rin, but not any old random person. And the reality of it is, as great as the likes of Naruto and Itachi and Jiraiya are, and as heartwarming as their stories are, Obito's approach to life is a lot more grounded. Whether the average person wants to admit it or not, it's hard to have this high level of selflessness for any and everyone you meet. But for Obito, a character who at its core is a kid born into a world of chaos and conflict, with no friends or family, through the eyes of us and our protagonist, he's one of the major in-game villains of Naruto, yeah, but through his own eyes, he's simply a man born on his knees with no one to care for him. And when he finally found bonds, he had to watch as one of those bonds was stripped away right in front of him. And because of that very event, the other bond he held closely became estranged and pretty much irreparable. So far, I've simply tried to paint more context for the character of Obito and his own mindset to show you that it's not as black and white as bad event happens so I become bad person. But I don't think anyone can prove this more than the man himself, Obito. You can find Obito quoted as saying in the manga, "If you think I started this war over just you and Rin, to say that you're misdirected would be an understatement. After I lost Rin, the world as I saw it changed. It became a black hell. This world holds no hope. I took Madara's identity and walked the world, but all that did was confirm it further. Even possessing the Sharingan didn't reveal anything to me, because there was nothing to see." In this conversation Obito has with Kakashi, he reveals that Ren's death does serve as the catalyst to make him view the world in a different light, to try discovering new paths into envisioning his own world. This is him saying that losing someone he cared about isn't what made him lose hope in the world. It was through his own experiences and really spectating the world that made him lose hope. Obito doesn't start the war out of a place of spite or because he holds a grudge against it. He views the war as a necessary evil, something that has to happen because this is the only way to fix the world for the better, now not only thinking about himself, but everyone. And I'm sure we all disagree with how Obito went about his actions and his feelings and his motivations, but I can't help but have a soft spot for someone who suffered alone for so much of their life. The tale of Obito Uchiha is an amazing commentary on the unexplained need to be loved and cared about that so many of us seem to share. He's the representation of what not having this can do to a person, and he's a reminder that the people that did experience life this way at one point or another, that didn't necessarily have many or any bonds, yet still managed to figure it out and still come out on the other end a good person, should be appreciated and applauded for making it through that darkness. Many valuable lessons exist within the story of Naruto, and Obito serves to be one of the most important. Many of us deserve to feel joy, and many of us deserve to have friends and to have people we care about and have people who care about us. But the pursuit of this should never cause us to make other people sacrifice their happiness. And this is something we see Obito finally learn and come to terms with in the end. And while not exactly accomplishing the picture-perfect image he had planned from the beginning, it certainly makes him have a deeper appreciation for what he did get to experience. And when looking at all this and looking at Obito's story as a whole, it's easy for me to say he's one of the greatest characters in anime. And that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed, go ahead and subscribe, like, dislike, even though you can't see dislikes, but I can. So feedback, still, you know, all that fun stuff. This is my second time recording this. So, you know what I'm saying? Show me some love for that, because I'm stupid and accidentally deleted the audio the first time. So, yeah, I make videos of this quality or better all the time. I am leaving.